Welcome to OC Life Podcast. This is episode 2, week 2. And again, we have our co-host, Jarvis Elder, and we're going to talk about a whole various bunch of topics, but OC Life is our podcast where we turn our life into a message. All right, welcome to week 2. Game didn't happen. Outcome didn't happen the way like you expected it, but 35-23.
34-23.
Good. Well, I'll tell you what, I had a great conversation with the Wolfpack, talked to Coach Mark and Coach Donovan, and I knew they weren't going to kick to you. Mom, Tanya, and I, we actually came out to support you.
Yes,
Where the heck were we? Chilton, Texas.
I never been there.
Oh my gosh! I tell you, it smelled like straight manure.
Yes.
Everywhere, and I was just like, my gosh, where the heck are we?
Yes, I was lost.
Really?
I ain't know where we was at.
Well, I'll tell you what. One of the great things about it was, Mom told me, she says, "Man, we better have some gas because we were out here in the backyard woods."
Yes.
But yeah, so even though the outcome didn't happen the way you wanted. For the Central Texas Tigers, for everybody that doesn't know, the Central Texas Tigers are a new team to the BSFL. And I didn't think you guys were going to come out as strong as you did. I kind of thought, looking at the depth of your team, looked a little bit undisciplined, didn't look as together as the Wolfpack. But talk to me about, your game plan kind of going in and how you guys plan to attack to beat the Wolfpack, and then what actually happened where the outcome didn't come out for you guys to be on the top end.
Well, the game plan was to come out and execute, execute and just do our job. I already knew coming in, like we have a new team, so I knew we're gonna have some inexperienced players that haven't played in this type of league. So it was kind of like I just try to take it all in and try to enjoy the process, and just as the game come along, I know we'll be where we need to be towards the end of the game.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to warm-ups. I was kind of watching your. You were the only reason why I was there anyway, and then to catch up with the Wolfpack.
Yes, sir.
But when I walked past on the field and the sideline, I tried to gauge it because taking a year off from coaching is very tough.
Yes, sir.
Because you when you see players like you kind of. It's easy for us in the stands to say what you should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
So we kind of, didn't know what plan of attack DT was going to come with as far as, coordination. I think he was really trying to attack the A-gap runs.
Yes, sir.
And to kind of draw them in. And I'll tell you, I don't know who that number 7 is, that running back, but I'll tell you what, he runs hard.
Yes, sir.
He really runs hard. Number 47 was a key component to your defense, and he's a spark.
Yes,
I don't know what his name is. Forgive me. I have to get a roster, so Coach Clark, give me a roster. But it seemed to me that you guys was trying to find yourself, trying to find your identity.
Yes, sir. That's true.
And it did not appear that you all were overly matched.
Yes, sir.
But it did appear that you guys needed to find a rhythm. I thought that they would go to you more often early.
Yes, sir.
So talk to me about what DT's game plan was as far as getting you the ball. Did you have certain packages that you were going to be involved in, or was it kind of a rhythm thing? Because if you look at the tape, they were more, because Cam was sitting out, he's in a wide 9.
Yes, sir.
And he's pointing out the flats, which in a sense, it kind of looked as quarters coverage, because normally times in quarters coverage, what happens is when you're in a quarters coverage, DNs are they play in coverage, they can play underneath the routes, the flats.
Yes, sir.
And it seemed to me like Cam was going to bail in the flats, but every time you were in the slot. So, talk to me a little bit what DT's plan of attack for you was that game.
Well, the first play, we tried to come out. He said if he see the guy pressing me, go ahead and just throw the 9. So, and they kind of built on it. So they kind of backed up off on it and everything. So in the beginning of the game, I was playing a little slot, and then I seen that they was covering me. You know, they had a safety, a linebacker, and the corner was kind of spying on me too. And then so at halftime we kind of made adjustments, and that's when I went outside, and then we started getting some openings. It was a one-on-one because they couldn't double team me no more.
Well, I tell you what, that quarterback number 12, very elusive.
Yes, he's
very elusive. It was kind of predictable when Raymond came in. You kind of knew he was going to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
But if you guys are going to go where you're going to go, that number 12, if he gets a good quarterback coach, gets a good rhythm, he's the type you can kind of zone read.
Yes.
Read him and kind of let him get into a feel of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think you need. I think for you, I think zone read, a nice little pop pass to you.
Yes, sir.
In a flat, something to kind of help you get the ball. Or even I was even thinking with DT, I was like, hey, you know what? Go on and give him a nice little direct snap, put you in the backfield, hit you on the outside, or a nice little speed option. Something to kind of get you in space to kind of open it up.
Yes,
but
sir.
all in all, I left, the family and I, we left at halftime.
Yes, sir.
But talk to me about, because it was 13-3. And then I noticed you guys had Numa. So Numa's actually on your team now.
Yes, sir. We got Numa.
Great. So Numa, for y'all don't know, Numa was with me in 30th Engineer Brigade. And we served together in the Engineer Brigade. And he was with the Vipers kicker, and now he's over with the Tiger. He's going to be a difference maker for you guys.
Oh, yes, sir. He made some good key points for us in the game. So.
And how many points did he score?
He scored, I think 3.
3?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. He had 3 field goals?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great.
Yes,
so you guys actually threatened to get into the
Yes, sir.
race. Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
So that game's behind you now.
Yes, behind me.
Now we are entering week 2.
Yes, sir.
We're going against the Austin Vipers.
Yes, sir. We're going against the whole team. Yes,
so talk to me about going back to Westwood, playing against your old team. All the controversy surrounding me.
Yes, sir.
All the negative things that was said about last year going into this year.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about what is your mindset for this week.
My mindset for this game is just a revenge game for me. I feel like, everything that happened last year and previous years that I've been on the team, it's like, they kind of take some of the players for granted, some of the good players for granted, and stick with their old team, old vets that won championships back in the day. But if you want to win new championships, you gotta put some new guys in and see what they're made of.
So you felt like you wasn't featured enough.
Exactly.
And from the time that you came in previous years, and then even last year, even though that I was there, last year I think
you just didn't know me.
I think. Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say you don't understand what type of players you have when you kind of come in together.
Exactly.
In this league, what happens is that you have a tendency to get player after player after player comes in.
Yes, sir.
And you're not able to get a rhythm. So when you're having these OTAs, which OTA stands for organized team activities.
Yes, sir.
When you kind of have that stuff coming in, and this league is no committed roster until, matter of fact, even week 1 is not committed. To be honest with you, but
no, sir.
So they know you're a dangerous punt returner.
Yes, sir.
Dangerous kick returner. Danger with the ball in your hand.
Yes, sir.
Not that you care, but what do you think their approach is to you this week? And do you guys think that you can pull out a victory against the Austin Vipers?
Yes, sir. I think we can pull out a victory because, after the game, we talked to the Wolfpack. Wolfpack said they feel like we're a better threat than the Vipers. We have a better team than them. So I feel like we have a great opportunity ahead of us and to get us a win on our schedule, a win on our record. So we're trying to go 1-1. So our goal is to go out, execute the game plan, and just stay locked in the whole game.
Well, I watch both teams. I always tell the truth. I'll be very unbiased. I think defensively, I think you guys got to shut down Gamble and Cobb.
Yes, sir.
And Elmore. I think if you shut down the passing game, the Vipers probably passed about, when they played the Wolfpack, they probably passed about 65% of the time.
Yes, sir.
And that's stretching it.
Yeah.
But there was no bubbles, and it was nothing that I think they're going to play into your guys' hand.
Yes, sir.
And this is just prematurely. This is only going off the old tape from what I seen with the Wolfpack.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know what type of defense that you guys were going to come out with. It seemed like you guys were a little bit of a 4-2-5, a little bit of a 3-3-5 stack. So for you, all of you all that don't understand what's happened is, and I'll bring it to your attention, you're facing top tier opponents right off the bat.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
And I think Coach Clark is going to have a very, very, very good sense of where his team is at after this week.
Yes, sir.
Because you're going to play the top
two teams.
The top two teams. And the Vipers are no slouch, by the way. They've got Zach Bozier, and they've got Patrick Gamble, and they've got Deontay Cobb, and they've got Elmore.
They got the refs.
Oh, he said they got the refs.
That's what the Wolfpack said.
I tell you what, the Wolfpack now, the Wolfpack came in, and it kind of seemed like the Wolfpack were going to run away with it from the beginning.
Yes, sir.
Clearly better numbers, clearly more organized.
Yes, sir.
Clearly the defending champions, but when they came down on that punt return or that kickoff, and they came down, it just seemed that the Wolfpack knew right off the bat where they can attack you.
Yes, sir.
They were trying to pick and find. What do you have you thought about going to defense?
If they need me, I'll go. You know, if they need me, and I'll do whatever it takes to help the team win.
You know the reason why I said that, right? Because if and this is just a note for coaches. If Coach Clark puts you on the field, third down.
Yes, sir.
You see the Wolfpack, they stayed on the field, but then they did the pooch pump.
Yes. Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. A mental thing for you is put you back in safety.
Yeah.
And to kind of give you an advantage, and they would have to kick the ball. If not, you're forcing them to either go for it while you're on the field, and you guys get great field position.
Yes, sir.
Or they punt to you, and let's see what happens.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully you take it to the other end. So what changes have you made going through this week, from last week with the Wolfpack to this week? Have you made it? I know you're not going to tell all the details, but have you made any mental or physical changes, to your approach of this week's game?
For me, I take the same approach every game. I try to stay low key.
Yeah.
Don't get too high, don't get too low. I just look at it. Every team's the same. I don't look at them like, oh, we got this team or that team. We got a sorry team or nothing like that.
Right.
I take the approach the same. If you take the approach the same, you put in the practice, you put in the workout, and you put the hard work in. Everything else will take care of itself.
So, game is against the Austin Vipers at Westwood High School.
Yes, sir.
Austin Vipers versus the Central Texas Tigers. Saturday, 7 p.m. kickoff.
Yes, sir.
At Westwood High School in Austin, Texas. If you guys are not doing anything, please go out and to support the Central Texas Tigers, or just support the BSFL as a whole.
Yes, sir.
So we've on most of our podcasts talk about various subjects, but because this is Jarvis's last season, we really want to talk about football, and we don't want to just talk about life stuff. We want to talk about just general things that will lead us in different conversations. So I sent you a message earlier today, and I said, hey, we're going to talk about loyalty.
Yes, sir. Loyalty.
And I know we kind of touched on last week what loyalty means to you, but kind of doing a deep dive into that word. I always said to me, loyalty was me.
Yes.
Because in my life, I felt like I was always the most loyal person.
Yes, sir.
In relationships, maybe not so, but I feel like when it comes to friends, man-to-man friendship, I was always loyal. I was the one always giving.
Yes, sir.
But then I was always the one getting crapped on too.
Yes.
And so I started to take this solo dolo approach. How do you feel that loyalty? How do you feel loyalty applies to you in your life? And then also, how do you feel about loyalty as far as friendships?
Loyalty is, I think, to me, loyalty is very big. In life in general. You can be loyal, and a lot of people can really, like you said, like I said last week, can stab you in the back. Like you can go help as many people you can, and then they'll take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, Coach Jones gave it to me last time. I'm gonna go see if Coach Jones gonna give it to me this time.
Right.
Keep going.
Right.
Keep feeding off your back and eating off your back and stuff like that. And I feel like that's wrong, and that's why you got to weed them guys out and find the right people that that's gonna give the same energy as you give.
Well, how does that apply to you now? As far as, I'm pretty sure you've been betrayed in your life, and I'm pretty sure that things didn't always happen. But you ever get a sense that you're a better man than you are to certain people in your life?
Oh yes, sir. Yeah, I cut some of them dead people off. I cut them off, man. So
what's your mentality of cutting people off? Like, how do you do that?
Like dead weight. If they're just dead weight, if they're like you sucking my energy, I just cut them off and just like I move forward.
You know, when I was a young kid, young man, I was very, very, very vulnerable and I was very gullible.
Yes, sir.
And I just wanted friends.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to be alone. I wanted to fit in. And, you know, when my mom and dad had split up, they separated. And I had to move from Bolingbrook, Illinois to Bellwood, Illinois. And Bellwood, Illinois wasn't the best town.
Yes, sir.
I was playing football, crosstown rival. So the team that I was playing, kind of similar to your situation this week, the team that I played for, now I have to play against, but I'm actually on their team.
Yes, sir.
And I was teased a lot as a kid, and I just wanted friends. I just wanted people to be around me.
Yes, sir.
And my thing is about loyalty is I feel that when you sit back and you look at today's society and life, you see a lot of disloyalty in terms of social media.
Oh yeah.
You know, you see a lot of it in terms of relationships, friendships.
Yeah.
So how do you, if I was coming up in today's day and age, what's your approach? What's your advice to anybody out in the audience that's struggling with how to cut people off and how to find loyal people in their life?
I think the biggest thing is, first you got to love yourself. I feel like you have to love yourself and respect yourself enough to be able to understand, to find these friends that, will be loyal to you and not, like I said, stab you in the back and stuff. You got to find the right people that you can match the energy with, what I'm saying? That, so they can connect and understand the boundaries and respect, because loyalty is about respect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If, like for me and you, I respect you,
right,
and I'm loyal to you, so I know I wouldn't try to stab you in the back or try to disrespect you in any type of way, because I respect you as a person.
Yeah. And
when you have respect for a person, you wouldn't do that. But you can love somebody, like I said, you can still stab them in the back. But when you respect the person, it's
so do you think so what you think on social media when it comes to loyalty?
Oh, social media is just everybody just on their false, like, oh, I'm living this life, but they're not being real. It's all about being liked on social media. It's about, oh, let me see what this person is doing. Let me see what I can get. Let me see how many likes I can get. That's what social media is about.
But do you think that, and for anybody that just came in, we're talking about loyalty and we're talking about how loyalty impacts today's society and social media, how it impacts your life, and also too, how does loyalty apply to us now? What affected us? In my childhood, I went through a lot of stuff.
Yes, sir.
I went through a lot of things, and I was always the one, like I said before, I was always the one that was trying to fit in.
Yes, sir.
And what I found about that was I'm a better man, a better person to the ones around me than other people were to me.
Yes, sir.
And because I wanted them around, because I lacked love and affection and stuff like that when I was younger, as a kid, I was like, well, I'm willing to put up with whatever just to have people around me.
Yes,
what I failed to realize is, and that's why they always say, experience is your best teacher. What I failed to realize is I didn't understand what loyalty was. I didn't understand about loyalty until I started getting stabbed in the back.
Yes, sir.
And so my thing to you is that I think you and I will forever be loyal to each other. I think because there is an unprofound respect that we have for each other.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people are intimidated of the relationship that you and I have built. Yes, and that's why I always say our time with the Austin Vipers was one of the best things that happened to us, because it turned into businesses, it turned into podcasts, it turned into, my family, I know your family, my wife, I know your wife. It turned into those things. But how do you advise Jake that's 12 years old, struggling with his sexuality or struggling with friendships, how do you advise this day and age where it's so open, everybody's doing everything that they want to do?
Yes, sir.
You've got so much going on. How do you advise someone that's struggling to find loyalty and to be loyal to somebody else? What's your advice to them nowadays in today's society?
For the people like Jake, I would say first, you just gotta grow through the experiences that you've been through in your life, like the hurts, the bad relationships, or the bad friendships, and you grow and you learn from their mistakes, and you learn from the journey that you was on, and then you try to find the right people and get around the right people, you know, that you can grow and build with. Because, like I say, if you hang around broke people, you'll be broke. But
right.
if you hang around people that's rich, eventually you're gonna be rich if you stay loyal and follow their steps in life.
Yeah. So, have you ever struggled with something to a point where you was just like, I just gotta do me?
Yes.
I gotta just take a step back. I don't know if you're familiar with the rapper Rocco.
Yes, sir.
And he has this song out. It came out like 2012, 13, and I used to play it every day. It says, "You just do you, I'ma do me."
Yes, sir.
And there's another song out there that says, I think it's by 3 6 Mafia, says, "The real will outlive the fake."
Yeah.
And so what I'm passionate about when it comes to loyalty is that I always go back to when Coach Owens, Maurice Owens was a kid.
Yes.
When I was so vulnerable to people took advantage of me. And they just took advantage of me. And then as I started growing up and in the military, I'm in the military, and I'm like, we would go out to clubs and hang out, you know, and next thing you know, it was just like, I'm watching guys do things that I would never do.
Yes, sir.
So, in your experience, do you think that because social media is here, and I keep bringing up social media because social media is just, people have ended their life off social media.
Yes.
I'm just being honest. And I've gotten phone calls from people that called me at 11 o'clock at night and said, "Coach, I know you're not on Facebook, but these guys are just murdering you on Facebook.
Yeah.
They're just talking negative about you." And I said, you know what? As long as I have God in my life, let them talk, because what goes around comes around.
Yes, sir. That's true.
And so how do we raise our children? How do we teach our youth? How do we even teach these high school kids that are growing up, and even men? How do we help them understand that they don't need a whole bunch of people around them? They just need loyal people around them. How do we help them?
You just gotta be yourself. Man. That's the truth. You gotta be yourself. And like I said, for me, my vulnerable moment in my life was, my dad wasn't in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt hurt. I felt like abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So from that point, I knew I had to grow and prove. I wanted to prove not only to myself, but to him that, man, you missed out on a good kid, a good guy that's going to be a great father, that's going to be a great man. So for me, that's why I always say I want to break generational curses, because,
right.
as kids growing up, they follow their parents' footsteps. Some of them follow their parents' footsteps, and some of them, like I said, a lot of divorces in the world. There's a lot of things, a lot of bad things that's happening in this world. It's not like it was back in the day where you didn't have social media, like you said, or you had you wrote notes and you had little phones, you got on the phone jack and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we don't have that no more.
So you talk about your dad, and you say, because you seem very passionate about that. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Together, my wife and I have 11 children, right?
Yes, sir.
Which is 8 girls and 3 boys. Separately, I have 9 children.
Yes, sir.
Right? And which is 7 girls and 2 boys. In that parameter, I wasn't very loyal to the women that I was with. And I didn't understand what loyalty was, because when you're young, you're dumb, you're doing stuff, your hormones get to you, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna just go out here and live my life.
Exactly.
But me getting married at an early age, I knew I was responsible. In my mind, I wanted to do, but physically my maturity level wasn't there.
Yes, sir.
And so when you talk about your dad, I have children right now that I don't talk to this day.
Yeah.
And I say that because you have some men that want to be fathers to their children and can.
Yeah.
But then you also have some men, and I don't know what your dad's case is, why you guys don't have a consistent relationship, but if you speak to the camera, somebody out there that's struggling, that wants a relationship with their dad or their mom.
Yes.
What's that approach? Because I didn't go through that as a kid.
Yeah.
My mom and dad was there,
yeah.
right? I grew up in a 2-parent home. Biologically, I didn't have to, I hate to use the word stepdad, but I didn't have to have that. My dad was one of those type of men that was like, no, I'm gonna take care of my kids. I think that helped me, but then it hurt me too, because if him and my mom wasn't happy in life, then I feel like, hey, you should just split.
Yeah.
But from your sense, it kind of feels like, I look at you and I look at like LeBron James.
Yes, sir.
LeBron James never talks about his father.
Yes.
Shaq never talks about his biological father. He talks about
his stepfather.
His stepfather.
Yes.
And for y'all, I don't like to use the word stepfather, because I think any man that steps in to take on a responsibility of somebody else, I think that they are the most phenomenal men in the world.
That's true.
But talk to me about your biological dad, how that has shaped you to be how you are now, and then talk to me how your dad now, Mr. Owens, has come in and not tried to fill a void, but come in and help mold you as a man.
Like for me, like my dad, my real dad, he told me, he's like, hey, you can change your name to my last name. And I told him, nah, I'd rather keep my name, my last name, my mom's last name, because at the end of the day, you wasn't there. You wasn't in my life to raise me. Mm-hmm. So why would I carry on your name when you didn't leave me nothing? You didn't steal nothing in me, but you just birthed me into this world. That's all you birthed. You know what I'm saying? I would rather have my stepdad's last name, because at the end of the day, he was there. He was in my life. He helped me grow. He helped me be the man I am today. Be respectful, have passion, have respect for others, be loyal to others. He taught me everything that I needed to know. My mom and stepfather taught me everything that I needed to know about life.
So, I'm going to ask you a tough question here. Biological dad sitting here right now.
Yes.
Mr. Owens, your stepdad. Excuse me, I hate to say step, but I just need to make it as clear as possible.
Yes, sir.
What would you say to both of them, like right now? Like, if they were standing here right now and we're on the OC Life podcast, like, even if they watch it, like, what would you say to each one of them as far as how you felt then and how you feel now?
For my real dad, I would just let him know that, I just feel disappointed, disappointed that you never even took the opportunity to even try to look for me. My mom told me about you, and I had to go look for you on social media and all that stuff. So, and I didn't meet him until I was 21. So, and I had to go meet him. It's always come see me. It's never come see me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's different. And then for my stepdad, I would say, I just love him. I love him to death. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy. He's the man. I look at him as a superhero, superstar. You know what I'm saying? Because he's that guy.
So y'all don't realize it's powerful. And like I said, we're talking about loyalty, right? But also loyalty is in different forms. You're talking about life, you're talking about family, you're talking about money, you're talking about career, you're talking about all these things. But what you said really, really, really hits home, because I'll tell you, for me, I gave effort. I paid thousands of dollars in child support. I'm talking about thousands of dollars.
Yes, sir.
And there was times that I couldn't even see my kids, or I was paying so much money where I was so broke I didn't have the money, because I was paying out so much money in child support. And I've always advised you, I said, listen, don't have children with multiple women, because it gets costly.
Yes, sir.
And so I didn't really have that.
Yes,
growing up. I was trying to feel my way through life, because I was trying to fill a void through a woman. How my mom and dad, I wanted them to love me. The first one that said they love me, let's have sex, let's do this, let's do that, let's have a family. I'm like, okay, got it, because I just want to be loved.
Yes, sir.
But I've tried numerous times to be in my children's life, and I say, when you have a man that gives max effort, but then you have other men that don't give a max effort, don't have to pay child support, don't take care of any responsibility of their children, that bothers me.
Yes, sir.
Because I feel that the court system is set up. Everybody says the court system is set up for the woman, right?
Yes, sir.
But the court system is set up for the ones who do not take care of responsibility, or biological parents or whoever the parent is set up for them to be successful because you are now taking care of your child the way you're supposed to. And potentially, and I can tell you in the state of Texas, potentially, Texas is going to give you rights to see your children.
Yes, sir.
So it baffles me how, as great of a young man as you are, I've always told you you're a son of mine that I never had in terms of that.
Yes,
the
sir.
bond that you and I have is just unprofound.
Yes, sir.
But honestly, it's hurtful because someone like you can see some of the things that you need help with as far as growth and this, that, whatever. That's why I always tell you, hey, look, I'm more than just a coach.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
I'm there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Although you have your stepfather, whatever the case may be, we always say, hey, you're my godson. Matter of fact, I tell you, Coach Mark, he said, what are you doing here? I said, I'm here to see my godson, Jarvis, play. He said, oh, okay. I said, yeah. And I pointed right to you. So, do you believe in, how am I trying to say this? Blood versus non-blood. Because you'll have some men or women say, they ain't my child, I'm not taking care of them.
Yeah, you got some people that say that.
Or how did your stepfather, Mr. Owens, right? How did he do it? Did you ever hear him say that?
No, never.
How was he when you were a child?
Good father. He was a good father to all my brothers and sisters.
Did you ever feel out of place?
No. Never.
You know, it takes a special man to be like that.
Yeah.
It really does. And I tell you, even now, with Tanya and I, and, you know, Marquita she's 30, I think she's 31, about to be 32. And people say, oh, your stepdaughter? No, that's my daughter.
Yes, sir.
I don't look at it like that.
Yes, sir.
TJ and Austin, that's my son.
Yes, sir.
But I have a better chance of being a father now on this end, realistically, for kids that are not biologically mine, because the mother's actively involved in the life of both children.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm getting at is, was your mom an integral part of how your dad played a role, your stepdad played a role in your life?
Yes, sir.
And tell everyone, how did your mom keep y'all family together? How did she mold it to where you have the feeling that you have now as a grown man?
Mm-hmm.
You just said, this guy's a superhero.
Yes, sir.
Kids say that.
Yes.
So how did you go from not having a father to this man now as my superhero? How did your mom, how did she shape that?
She just, she taught us everything that we didn't know. She nurtured us and made sure, understand that, this man is the man in our life. This is the guy that's taking care of you, the father that, she let us know who this man was in our life. And so we embraced it and accepted it and took it on, because at the end of the day, my dad wasn't there. So he was there. So you got to accept it, and you have to eventually, understand that, man, you can't keep fighting forever. You got to, you got to continue to, let it go and move forward in life.
Well, and for you all don't know, like I said, we, in the OC Life podcast, we turn our life into a message. And so I want to say that although we're talking about loyalty,
yes, sir.
Loyalty is being a good father.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Being a good husband. Mm-hmm. So you don't have any children. We talked about last segment.
Yes, sir.
Have you and Eunice, have y'all kind of talked about how life would be having a child, what type of mother she would be, what type of father you would be? Have y'all kind of talked about that? And then do you tie in your struggles and say, take your child? tell her, your wife said, and then your child, y'all never have to worry about nothing because I got it.
Oh, yes, sir. We talk about that all the time. Like, we're working on that. We're trying to, get ready to have some children now. So, I mean, the goal, I always say that she's going to be an amazing mother. I always say she's going to be an amazing mother. And I know I'm going to be an amazing dad because of the struggles that I've been through, everything. So it's experiences that make you who you are now.
Yeah.
And, there's a question I have for you. It's like, how would you want to be remembered when you die? How would you want your kids to remember you when you die?
When I die, I want to be remembered as a caretaker. I sacrificed. 23 years of my life, I sacrificed. I came to work every day with my children, my first priority.
Yes, sir.
Every morning at 6:20 in the morning, we had to get up and go to the PT formation. We had to run when it was 10 degrees outside, 95 degrees outside. Had to wake up in the morning when you was going through a bad divorce from either their moms or different situations or whatever. I always want to be remembered as a caretaker and a man that is consistent.
Yes, sir.
That never not put myself before them. A selfless man.
Yes, sir.
Somebody that's selfless. Somebody that would give my last for my children, and to be remembered always as a person that was a caretaker. Whatever I did it the best because I knew that if I did it this way and I was consistent, that my children would benefit in the end. And you gotta understand something. A lot of people don't want to talk about death.
Yes,
a lot of people don't want to talk about it. I used to always be the one, afraid to speak about it, but it happens to everybody.
Yes, sir.
But also, too, I always say this. We spend so much time trying to be parents to our children. How much do our children spend time on being great children to their parents?
Nowadays, it's not.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because although I want to be remembered as a caretaker, being a consistent man and a selfless man, children have a responsibility, not for parents to live their dream through them, but for them to provide their parents with the necessary credit they deserve.
Yeah.
I know my kids wouldn't have the thing that they have if I didn't go to work every day in the military.
Yes, sir.
But they never told me that, but hearing that would satisfy me.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a great question because when you look at it, how do we answer a question that we don't really know?
Exactly.
Well, with you have to understand coming in, that's why I always told us, hey, be very selective who you have children with. Because if you got one mother, and I tell you, I listened to Eric Thomas one time, I was very embarrassed. He was like, you got these men that with this woman, that woman, this woman, that woman. And I'm like, I'm that dude.
Yeah.
But I'm not about to be embarrassed because I was like that.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, I do know because it was costly for me, not just financially, but it was emotionally draining. Then you have children. One may have a basketball game over here and there, and they're in different states. And here I'm active in the military trying to go get it.
Yeah.
That was why I said to you, hey, have a children with one woman.
Exactly.
This way you can mold and shape the child and your family how you want to.
Exactly.
And that's why when I heard Eric Thomas speak about that, I was like, damn, what if I would have had just this? I'm not saying my dad never taught me, because he did.
Yes, sir.
Certain things, but sometimes in life you just don't get it.
Yeah.
So to me, I just want to be remembered as a caretaker, consistent, and a man that is just very, very, very selfless, that will give anything before me.
Yes, sir.
That's the true definition. So before we in this segment, episode 2 of OC Life, and we're talking about loyalty.
Yes, sir.
We got on the subject about children and family and fatherhood and all these things. What do you have to say to the audience in terms of loyalty, and how can they identify someone that is loyal? And then what's the process nowadays? I mean, I know y'all probably gonna get tired of me saying it, but I keep talking about social media because we didn't have social media back in the day. It was just me and you. I shook your hand. That was it.
Yes, sir.
Now I can shake your hand and I do like this. This guy is a freaking whatever. And next thing you know, you're like, I just left this man's house. He shook my hand.
Yeah.
It's off the honor code.
Yeah.
The bro code is gone.
Yeah.
There's no more bro code.
Yeah.
You have a selective window to do something good or bad, and they're going to hammer you on social media. So, based on everything that we talked about, what is like your last message to the audience when it comes to loyalty, and how do we become successful and stay successful with loyalty in the hands of the thumb war gangsters and social media?
I think the biggest thing is, at the end of the day, I feel like this. I feel like regardless how many people you meet, regardless how many friends you make, you're always going to find somebody that's always, the one out of the group, somebody's going to stab you in the back. Somebody's always going to hate on you. Somebody's always going to feel some type of way about you. So you just got to find the ones you know. You got to weed out the ones that you know are not loyal to you and keep the ones that are loyal to you. And make sure you remain loyal to them. And don't let, say anything negative that anybody say define you. Because at the end of the day, words are just words. At the end of the day, you know who you are as a person. You know what you bring to the table or bring to the world as a person. So you just got to stick with that type of words and stuff.
So basically, in essence, before we close down, you're saying that they first have to be strong themselves.
Exactly, you have to be
before they can even identify or even feel the need of somebody else. They've got to be strong themselves.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you, I hope next week you guys come out with a victory.
Yes, sir.
I hope next week that when we talk, that we can pick up where we left off, because this is a deep subject where we're talking about family now. We're getting into family and fatherhood and things of that nature. But I wish you nothing but the best. I wish you good luck.
Yes, sir.
Against the Austin Vipers, 7 o'clock, Westwood High School. And hopefully I can get Coach Clark on.
Yes, sir.
Here real soon.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of unofficially put some notation out there. But before we get out of here, I always like to close with last message. We have my co-host, Jarvis Elder, who's Mr. All-Purpose, Mr. Everything.
Yes,
He's
sir.
number 5, watch out.
Yes,
I call him a Jackson 5 because he's got so many different faces. So we're talking about loyalty, and I just want to let everybody know that if you're struggling in your life, if you're struggling to have friends, if you're struggling to go through today, whether it's in your marriage, being a father, being a wife, being a husband, being a mother, whatever the situation is, understand that you don't need a lot of people around you to be successful. You don't need a lot of people around you. You need the right people around you to continue to stay loyal to you. I will always tell you this: loyalty is like loving your mother.
Yes.
If you cannot have that bond and that trust with the person you with, and you don't feel the love and the reception from them, then you got to cut them off, like Jarvis said. Mm-hmm. And so this is OC Life, podcast number 2, episode 2. We talked about loyalty. We got a little bit, we started with football, then we got it off a little bit, and we started talking about life. But at the end of the day, man, it is always a pleasure and an honor to speak to you. You have so much knowledge, so much to give, and I will tell all of you all, just like this instrumental from Rags to Riches, you guys stay tuned in to OC Life. Next week, same OC Life time, same OC Life channel. God bless.
God bless.